Hi, I'm Todd Henderson. Today we're going to install the Retrax ONE on this 2014 body style Silverado and Sierra. Now, if you'd like more information, just click on the info button or visit the link in the description. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the first thing we're going to want to do is remove the bracket from shipping and also the tube for the spiral. We're going to use a Phillips head screwdriver, pull this screw out that holds this in place. We're going to discard this stuff after we're done with it. Remove the tube from the spiral. Do the same thing on the opposite side. All right, now we're going to go ahead and locate our driver's side rail. Now you can point out the driver's side rail real quick. The front end that actually attaches the canister is going to have a small hole in there. And we're going to be fishing the blanket of the canister through this track right here. So what we're going to do is, before we can do that, is we're going to push the button on this. What that does is that releases the mechanism so that it can actually slide into the track. We're going to take and slide it like so. Make sure the ball bearings slide down into the track. All right, we're going to slide it until this hole in the rail slides behind the backing of our canister and lines up with this hole here. Also, this tab in the very front will line up, go behind the canister and line up to this hole here. So we're just going to move that in, just like so. And with it in place, we're going to use these included machine screws, a Phillips head screwdriver, and we're going to attach the rails to the canister just like that. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and lock this into place just to keep this from moving back and forth on the rail, and repeat the same process on the opposite side. All right, now we're going to go in and install the canister cover. Whenever you get the canister cover, the rubber flap is actually going to be facing away from the cover. It's going to be facing towards the cab of the truck. And you're going to notice you got a couple of holes, one on each end of that canister cover, and those are going to line up with the holes that are in the rail. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide that underneath the rail until those holes line up. Once those holes are lined up, we're going to take our provided Allen head screws, and those are going to thread down into that canister cover. You also have a provided 1/8 inch Allen wrench to install these screws. Do that on both sides. All right, now this next step, you want to use an extra set of hands. We're just going to lift the entire assembly up, bring it up to the cab of the truck, and set it down with the rubber on top of the bulkhead. All right, so for the next step, we want to have the tailgate closed. What we're going to do is we're going to take an 1/8 inch thick spacer tool. We're going to set it in between the tailgate and the rail of the truck. Now we've got a little bit of a gap here from the rail to the tailgate, so we need to close that gap. We're just going to pull the rail back until it hits that spacer, and we're going to make sure it has the same space on the opposite side as well. All right. So now we got 2 pair of set screws. Those keep the rail at a certain distance away from your bed cap. Now the clamps are going to install in between those set screws. Got a set towards the tailgate and a set towards the bulkhead. What we're going to do is we're going to grab our clamps. Now you got 2 different size clamps. You got a smaller clamp and you got a larger clamp. That smaller clamp is going to attach on the tailgate side, and the larger clamp is going to attach on the cab size. So what we're going to do is we're going to split that clamp apart, slide it as far up as it can go. We'll tighten it up by hand first. And once we have it tightened by hand, we're going to get it just slightly snug with a 9/16. And once we have it in position, we're going to go ahead and push that rail down to where it touches the tailgate. We're going to hold it nice and level while we're tightening it down. Now for our cab side clamp, we're going to go ahead and split that apart as well. Install that the exact same way. Put in first finger tight. Snug it down with a 9/16. And once it starts to bite into place, we're going to make sure the weight of the cover is pulling that down so it doesn't migrate up. Repeat the same process on both sides. All right, now we're going to take a tape measure and measure the distance between the rails in 3 locations on the bed. The first spot is right where the canister cover bolts to the rails. We're going to move back to the first set of clamps, make sure it's the same measurement at the first set of clamps, and then measure between the rails at the second set of clamps and make sure it's the same measurement there. Now, okay, so if your measurements don't match up, the way you do that is you first remove the clamps at the location that it doesn't match up, and then these set screws will actually adjust in and out. You make your adjustments on both sides. They have to be the exact same. The rails have to be the same distance from your bed caps on both sides, so it has to be centered and it has to be even on each location. And that's how you make your adjustments, reattach your clamps. All right, then the drain tubes, first of all, they need to be routed out the bed of the truck. So you can either put it back behind a liner, or you can drill a hole into the bed and run the drain tube out the bed that way. Once the drain tube is routed, make sure the gasket is in place. We're going to fit it right up into the hole in the bottom of the canister. You push it up until you hear it click, and it's installed. You do that on both sides. Well, that concludes the installation. If you have any questions, click on the info button or visit the link in the description.